Hola culés y amantes del buen fútbol. El FC Barcelona lo ha vuelto a hacer, una victoria espectacular fuera de casa contra el Celta de Vigo por 4-2. Con un Lewandowski encendido marcando un hat-trick de pura clase, el equipo de Hansi Flick demostró que sigue más vivo que nunca en la lucha por la cima de la liga. En este video vamos a ver cómo reaccionó la prensa inglesa ante esta gran actuación del Barça y especialmente ante el show del capitán polaco, que dejó sin palabras a toda Europa. Así que antes de empezar, suscríbete al canal, deja tu me gusta y comenta desde qué país nos estás viendo. Queremos saber hasta dónde llega la pasión blaugrana. Y recuerda, este video está completamente subtitulado al español, así que activa los subtítulos si no los ves aún. Vamos allá.
Every foul is not a yellow card, but anyway, that's another suspension for them. Yeah.
All right, so a 6-goal thriller, we can call it, I suppose, but Barcelona, more importantly, get the 3 points, and let's just show you exactly what that means for them. It means that after their rivals, Real Madrid, drop points today to Rayo Vallecano, Barça now move within 3 points of the Madrid side. Let's welcome in our Luis Garcia for this one. Luis, thoughts on the victory? Of course, it left a little bit of a bitter taste in our mouths seeing Frankie de Jong sent off there. But in the end, we knew it was going to be difficult. We knew it was going to be entertaining, but Barça got the job done.
Yeah, exactly. It was about getting those 3 points and get closer to Real Madrid on the top of the league. It started well. I think that Barcelona did what they had to do in the first 45, but we knew that that high line was going to cost them something. I think that too many mistakes, and only on the pressing and the wide areas they were struggling so much, arriving to the player on the ball, and then that was costing them that they could have time to place the ball where they have to on the fantastic runs from the midfielders of Celta De Vigo, doing Borja Iglesias a great job holding the ball, laying off, and allow Celta De Vigo's runners. And in the second half, I don't know what happened with Celta De Vigo, because when you play against Barcelona, you need to understand that for 90 minutes, you have to do 100% everything that you need to do. And the moment that you give them 10 minutes, you're going to give away everything that you've done, all the work that you have done. So they decided to drop down, sit deep. I know there was a massive effort in the first 45, all those runs, long runs from the back to the front to try to get those goals. But in the end, that was giving to the dominance to Barcelona, that they felt the control. They started making the possession longer and longer, and in the end, in a set pieces, arrived that last goal. So I think that great job from Barcelona, and not that we were expecting. We've been trying to see this Barcelona a little bit more solid at the back, but in the end, it was again about keeping the momentum, getting another 3 points, and that big blow of Frankie de Jong that is not going to be available for Athletic Club de Bilbao, one of the toughest teams of the season.
Well, I just wanted to touch on that, because when we were coming on air, I said to the producer, I don't like this referee, and he said, just tell me a referee you like, that's going to be a shorter list. Yeah. And it is difficult because, well, that is a big call, because Pedri's already out. Casado picked up an injury in the warm-up, and now Frankie de Jong is going to be suspended, and it's consistency. Now, you could argue till the cows come home, he stood on him and should have had a yellow card. You know, not every challenge is a yellow card. I'll give you an example. I don't know if Luis remembers this. The first half of this game, Borja Iglesias had a hold of Frankie de Jong like a rugby game for about 10 seconds. Just held him back and stopped him on his tracks. He did not book him. That's what yellow cards are for. They're for clear and obvious fouls like that are just not even attempting to play the ball, and challenges that are rash and really, really late. It's not for just a little stand on the toe when you're trying to poke the ball away. So it's the inconsistencies within the referees. This referee in particular, we see him a lot, and I think he is very inconsistent in his decision making. That being said, what we saw from Barcelona today again is not going to fill you full of confidence in terms of their defence. Although they did take the sting out of the game in the second half, and Celta Vigo, as Luis said, stopped doing all the things that were productive for them in the first half, and that was getting forward with pace and playing it in behind quickly with those little 1-2s. Barcelona did a better job of thwarting that. Obviously, the Lewandowski hat-trick is a great boost for him, because, you know, he's not getting any younger, but it never sort of leaves you. But I think as we go along in this season, were not going to stop talking about what they were doing. And as Stevie said, after the Club Brugge game, to come out, take the lead, and then do that on the halfway line again as quickly as they did. So he comes inside Marcus Rashford on the first one, and he plays this great ball in, and then the fullback, who I think got the hook at half-time, got subbed. The fullback then's thinking, I can't let him come in his right foot and whip it in for Lewandowski again. So he steps in and Rashford takes him on the outside for the Yamal goal just at half-time. So Rashford really had that fullback on toast today, and that was a big problem for Celta De Vigo, whereas Yamal on the other side, particularly in the first half, was a lot quieter. In terms of Lewandowski, as long as he doesn't have to run the channels and do all that, it's not a problem.
Still quality.
Because that instinct will never go away, that movement. He only has to move. You know, with Stevie played with Ian Rush and all these other players who just came alive in the box. That's what they thrived on. And Lewandowski's always been like that. And as the years go by, Hansi Flick isn't expecting him to close the ball down as much, to run the channel, to drop deep. Just make sure you're there in the right place at the right time, getting on the end of it. I mean, you look at the goal, the penalty was the penalty. That was just getting in the right place, and the set piece was just getting in front of your defender. And it was a goal from nothing, really. His third goal of the hat-trick was a goal from absolutely nothing. The corner comes in. He shouldn't really score from where he is. So, yeah, that's a huge bonus for them. But again, they will score goals. That's not something where I don't think we're going to ever have to concern ourselves about. Oh, Barcelona are struggling to create chances and score. We know where the discussion is going. But at least they've given themselves 3 points today on a game against a side who had 5 straight wins. They're away from home. It was a chaotic game for most part. It could have gone anyway, particularly in the first half. But they've picked up the 3 points. They can brush themselves down and then wait on the international break to get over. But the big decision in the end there was Frankie de Jong getting sent off, which I think we all agree was pretty harsh.
It's a big point for them, and definitely points dropped for Real Madrid as Barcelona closed in on them. Luis Garcia, let's come to you first for this one now, because the second straight game in a row that we're not seeing any goals from Real Madrid.
Yeah, and that's strange. Today, I was expecting something like that. Rayo Vallecano is a very tough team to play against, and much more when they play at home. They can manage the ball, they have the possession, and they are very quick on contact with the wide players. But when you got Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and you Bellingham on the field, you know that you can expect goals. But today, I didn't see the intensity that is needed to play against Rayo Vallecano. I didn't see the urgency. I didn't need the desire to make something different. It was only Vinicius Junior at some points, not much from Mbappe. Jude Bellingham was on and off also on the field. Brahim Diaz that had an opportunity on the right side didn't come off or try to show something. So in the end, I think it was a poor performance, and that's why all people has been talking and the concerns with Xavi Alonso and the way he's been making play this Real Madrid side. It's a team that normally delivers goals. They got the top scorer of La Liga with Kylian Mbappe, and today they didn't even create clear chances. We saw the highlights. Not many that we could say that they could have a big one. Only Vinicius Junior won in the first 45, but that's about it. And again, we are talking that the consistency is needed in this competition. That's why the top 4, they are getting closer and closer. So we got league for the coming months.
That's a bad sign, isn't it? You know, when you play, generally when you play, oops.
Oh,
that's the screen gone.
There's a very expensive
That's the screen gone.
Generally, when you play in Europe midweek and you have a bad result and a bad performance, the only thing you expect as a coach is to see some sort of rebound. And for Real Madrid to come out and perform the way they did, that's a bad sign for the future, because it's just not normal, particularly supposedly good sides. You can understand that if you have a great performance during the week at Liverpool, you win 2 or 3-0, everybody's on a high, and then you have to come down to Rayo Vallecano. You can sort of understand that, but the other way around, no, that's not acceptable.
I think it kind of tells you where they are, in a sense, even though they won the Clásico. The way they played at Anfield, you know, okay, Liverpool had beaten Villa, and I know we're going to get to Liverpool, but we just saw them being absolutely spanked today. And the fact that they were able to tear Real Madrid to shreds for bulk of that game, and Thibaut Courtois kept them in it, I think maybe tells you where they are. Now, I've seen a lot of these games with Barça and Real and Atleti against Rayo Vallecano away, and they're a tough team to play against away because Inigo Perez is I think he's a terrific young manager. They play with pace, they play with intensity, they get forward, they are not frightened of anybody, and when you go there for an away game, you better be up for it and ready for it. And I kind of felt Real Madrid were a little bit on their heels today. To be frank with you, it was kind of half-hearted, but I think it is where they are. But again, I think to be honest with you, when you look at smaller clubs and smaller budgets, I think what Rayo Vallecano, and I know they're not the story, but I think this is the problem for Real Madrid. When you go to teams like this, what they are doing and their manager is doing with what they have is probably and arguably as good as anybody else in La Liga. So you need to make sure you're on your toes. And I don't think Real Madrid were today. It was pretty average, pretty pedestrian. And I think it was absolutely about as much as they could have got.
All right, well, a couple of things for Xabi Alonso to think about for the international break. But Luis Garcia, you've got a little bit of a break now since it is the international break. You're never in one place too long. That's what I was going to ask. Where are you going now? Thailand, Hong Kong,
India.
Rwanda, India.
I'm going to go back to Malaysia, guys, yes.
Oh, he's gone to that dodgy hotel room again.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's Real Madrid who are still at the top, but the gap has been cut by Barcelona. Now only 3 points separate the two at the top of Spanish football. Let's talk about Barcelona to start with. Ian, certainly not the perfect performance and the question marks about the high line, as we said, but ultimately I think this, after the midweek game, was just about getting 3 points, wasn't it?
I think at the end of the day for Barcelona right now, especially domestically, is about picking up 3 points, and sometimes it doesn't matter how you perform, how you defend, it's just about scoring more goals than the opponent. Certainly that's what we're being told by Hansi Flick. I mean, his objective is, in the DNA of Barcelona, is to be entertaining, and he wants to play an offensive style and a high pressure style up the field and basically win possession of the ball and counter-attack and get your victories that way. But it's not always so easy, especially when you go to places like Celta De Vigo, where they're on a consistent run of winning games, and they're a difficult team to compete against. They've got a great deal of talent in their squad as well. Barca's team was interesting, right? I mean, obviously, offensively, Marcus Rashford with another outstanding performance and a couple of assists from him. You must be impressed with what he's done, obviously, at Barcelona.
He's reignited his career. He needed this.
100% reignited his career, and I think for the England international stage, you're also excited to see and have a healthy, happy Marcus Rashford, because he brings quality. If you think of Harry Kane potentially replacing a Lewandowski or a Ferran Torres, who plays for Barcelona, up top there, and it's Harry Kane in the World Cup, I would love to see Rashford at some point have an impact from the bench or even start for England during the World Cup, and especially leading up to the World Cup. But they're just so quality going forward, Barcelona. They're always going to score goals, and Lewandowski, with the form that he's in right now, if you can keep him healthy, he's still going to score goals for you. The hat-trick is sensational. But at the end of the day, the topic will always be about what Barca do in the big picture. The trophies at the end of the season. And mark my words, if they continue to play this high line, and I know they won this game, and I know they scored more goals than the opponent, but if they continue to play this high line, Barcelona might win absolutely nothing this season. It's so weird to me that Hansi Flick consistently tries to play this way. I'm going to throw this out to you as well, right? Not many people know this because they probably didn't follow the German national team. That's why he was fired from the German national team, for consistently trying to play this high back line, high pressure, and at many times your back four is standing in the opposition half. It's absolutely ludicrous to continuously have to go on about this. They have to change in some way. It can't continue like this. They've got to either defend better or score 5 goals to win games.
The first goal, they were in the opposing half, the 4 defenders.
Crazy.
Which is crazy. I mean, you just don't see that. And I understand that in football, you know, there are times when that works, and it isn't just Hansi Flick's sides, Barcelona and previously as well in Germany.
Sure.
There are times when that is the right play, and we have seen it be used successfully, you know, all the way back to the 90s and Arsenal and some of the other teams we've talked about. But the problem is, if you stick with it as diligently as Hansi Flick has, you also become predictable. Teams know it. 100%. I mean, look today. Celta Vigo were just sat on that halfway line, waiting for the through ball, trying to catch them in behind.
Against Club Brugge, we were talking about a post-game. all I would really look to do is to play the offside in training days leading up to a game against Barcelona, because all you need is that one player to just keep himself onside. And every single player knows that if you're going to play a ball over the top, don't play it straight down the middle where the goalkeeper could potentially be the sweeper keeper. Yeah. You got to play it at an angle so that your wingers have a potential to get on the end of it, but then go towards goal. And that's what they did do. They were absolutely brilliant, Celta Vigo, in breaking that trap. They should have scored 5 goals from it. They just didn't take advantage of it because they didn't have the quality when it come to finishing. But they caused a few problems for this Barcelona side. Take nothing away. Barcelona offensively are an absolute weapon, but they're going to have to be. They're going to have to score. Instead of winning games 2 and 3 goals, scoring goals, you're going to have to start winning games by scoring 4 and 5 goals, which I think is problematic at the end of the day.
Let's talk a bit more about this man. How much of a role do you think he's going to play going forward? He will get his opportunities because they're just in so many competitions, but will he always be playing second fiddle now?
I don't know if he'll always be playing second fiddle. I think he's still working himself back to 100% full fitness. What is full fitness for a 37-year-old? I don't really know. But the fact is he's still scoring goals. We just mentioned it, 7 goals in 10 appearances that he's made this season. He's outstanding, right? He's the type of player that you can rely on to score goals when it matters most. This season he's missed a few big opportunities, glaring chances that you would expect him to stick in the back of the net. But he's outstanding. What he does is consistently good. It's so beautiful. He's now the 3rd oldest player to score a hat-trick in La Liga in the 21st century, which is spectacular in itself. But when you've got the young whippersnappers that are playing around you, I mean, I'm talking about Lopez, Olmo, Lamine Yamal, obviously Rashford not so young, but you've got Rafinha coming back. He's going to last forever. He just needs to be in and around that penalty area, taking opportunities in front of goal. I mean, that's a life of luxury for someone like Lewandowski, and especially when you've got a Ferran Torres who's getting better and more consistent minutes at him. I don't think Levy needs to play every single game. I think you protect him for those big games, and those big games are going to be very important to have your best 11, because at the end of the day, like we've just been talking about, the defensive structure and the tactical approach from Hansi Flick, as he says, is not going to change because it's the DNA. We are Barca. Then you're going to need Lewandowski to be banging in braces and hat-tricks to win football games at the highest level.
Let's move it on to Real Madrid. Not been a great week at all for them, was it? They lost to Liverpool at Anfield in the Champions League, couldn't score in that game, couldn't score today against Rayo Vallecano. And we have to say they do have not a great record against Vallecano in recent years, and it's a tough place to go, but still, they should be expecting to win this game. How do you think that man there, Xabi Alonso, is feeling about the way things are going over the last week or so?
Obviously, interesting week for him, and obviously challenging as a manager of Real Madrid. You're expected to win every single game, even when you're playing in derby games against Rayo Vallecano, where you've had 1 victory in the last 6 now. It's a difficult place to go play, right? Vallecas is a real fortress there, and Rayo get up for this game. I thought it was a brilliant game. I love to see these types of battles in La Liga, and I love to see how Real Madrid handles these types of battles, because it's not easy for Vinny Jr. and Mbappe and Bellingham to go to these places and get booted all over the place, and the fans are all at you. You're asking for a different style from these guys. Kylian Mbappe struggled, obviously. He now failed to score in back-to-back games for the first time since April, which is crazy to say. Bellingham was okay. Vinny Jr. I thought was one of the more outstanding players, especially in the first 45 minutes. I thought he would get a goal in this game. He was problematic for their right full-back. But I just want to see a little bit more from Real Madrid. I want to see a little bit more killer from them. Mbappe didn't even have a single shot in the first 45 minutes, which I can't remember the last time that ever happened in his career. But that quality has to come in these types of games. If you want to wrap the title up early, these types of games, you know all about it. You got to find a way to win games, and they didn't. Tough opponent. You'll take a point, I think, more than anything.
We saw Arda Güler in those photos there. He has come in for a little bit of criticism, you know, generally has done pretty well this season. Obviously, he's a young player, still learning to play for a club as big as Real Madrid.
Yep.
Do you think he's disappointed in these 2 big games this week?
Yeah, I do. Listen, Arda Güler is someone who's obviously shone brightly since the beginning of this season, and I think under Alonso, he's been one who's been put to the forefront. He's playing a lot of games, and he's returned a favour with 3 goals in the Liga. He's got 1 obviously elsewhere as well, and I think he's a talented player. He's only 20 years old. We forget that about Arda Güler, so there's more to come from him. But Alonso needs a little bit more grit from this team. You know, in these games where it's not quite going your way, you just have to be winning ugly sometimes. Real Madrid need to find ways to win ugly games sometimes, and that game against Rayo Vallecano, I know it's a difficult place, and we said the statistic, they haven't won there since 22 and 1 win in 6. I get it, I understand it, but champions find ways to win games, you know. The last time they did win there was in 22 when Benzema scored the winning goal, and that team found it hard in that game, but they still found a way to win the game. This game needed a match winner.
Qué partido, amigos. El Barcelona no solo ganó, dio una lección de carácter y fútbol ofensivo fuera de casa. Tras un inicio complicado y con el Celta presionando fuerte, el equipo de Flick mostró una mentalidad ganadora y una reacción impresionante. Robert Lewandowski fue, sin duda, el protagonista absoluto. Su hat-trick no solo demuestra que sigue siendo uno de los mejores delanteros del mundo, sino también que, cuando el Barça lo necesita, él aparece. 3 goles que valen oro, 3 toques que cambiaron completamente la historia del partido. La prensa inglesa, conocida por su exigencia y por analizar cada detalle táctico, quedó realmente sorprendida por la intensidad, la precisión y la mentalidad del equipo. Algunos medios destacaron cómo el Barça, incluso lejos del Camp Nou, mantiene una identidad clara, posesión, presión alta y ataque vertical. Otros resaltaron la conexión entre Lewandowski y Lamine Yamal, una dupla que empieza a dar mucho de qué hablar. Además, este triunfo representa mucho más que 3 puntos. Es una declaración de fuerza del proyecto de Hansi Flick, que poco a poco le devuelve al Barça ese espíritu competitivo que todos queríamos ver. Ganar 4-2 fuera de casa, en un estadio complicado como Balaídos, demuestra que el equipo está encontrando su ritmo justo en el momento clave de la temporada. Y ahora quiero saber tu opinión. ¿Crees que este Barça está listo para volver a dominar Europa? ¿Y qué te pareció el hat-trick de Lewandowski? Déjalo en los comentarios, que los leo a todos. Si te gustó el video, deja tu like, compártelo con otros culés y suscríbete al canal para no perderte las próximas reacciones de la prensa internacional sobre el Barça y sus grandes noches europeas. Seguimos creciendo juntos, familia blaugrana. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Visca el Barça y visca el fútbol. Blue Red Soccer Ball.